Hey, it's Dan here, and I'm going to make a video today about Our Healing Tea. Our Healing Tea is from OurBotanicals.com, and they are the best distributor of Robert Morris ND herbal protocols. You've seen me promote those years ago, and now I mostly just use them for my private clients and stuff. But OurBotanicals.com has the best shipping. They just really get it right out to you. They've got really good prices as well. And I just did a Robert Morris detox. I used the brain and the nerve. I used the kidney and the bladder. I used the endocrine formula. And I just ordered some more. I got the male formula coming and a whole bunch of the stomach herbs I used on this last cleanse. And I think my body responded really, really well after the 40-day fast, and I just got the hit that I need to start getting engaged in recommending Robert Morris's herbal tinctures and capsules, again, because of the nature of what's going on and some of my insights that I've had lately. Basically, what I'm going to try to do in the future here is find some ways that I can share with people, because I do these consults every day, and basically I've come to the conclusion that America is now just a food desert, and people have to drive 30 minutes, an hour to go get fresh organic vegetables. And so I'm going to find some creative ways to get these wild crafted and organic herbs and plants to your house so that you can get this genetic material into your body, so that you can have the biological activity that's associated with consuming plants. The more plants you consume, the better your microbiome is going to be. The microorganisms, which were here long before us, recognize the genetic material in these plants, whether it's raw plant foods, herbal tinctures, or herbal capsules, or herbal teas. This tea has white oak bark, plantain for the lymphatics, black walnut for the parasites and the candida, chaparral herb, that's another lymphatic herb, comfrey root for the bones and the teeth and the skin. The burdock root is good for the liver and the kidneys, and then it's got marshmallow root in it. And so you just take this and you boil up a nice big batch, and then you can either have it cold, but it's actually getting to be wintertime, I think, in most places, so it'd be good to have some nice hot tea. You put a little bit of lemon in it. What I like to do is make it up, and then I put it in the fridge, and then I add just a little bit of sugarcane juice, and then I deliver it to my delivery clients. I'm doing, raw food and juicing deliveries just one day a week, just for fun, just at cost for my friends and stuff like that, because everybody's just got a lot of stuff going on in their gut, or even emotional stuff they need to move through, mental stuff they need to move through. I mean, I started this detox path 18 years ago, 25, with the daily juicing habit. My parents bought me a Champion juicer. You've heard the story. I started juicing every single day. Best thing I've ever done. Sent me on the road. What are enzymes? Then I found the live foods, and then I went on the live foods track. That was the best thing I've ever done. Now we're beginning to understand the absolute imperative nature of consuming as much of your food raw and unheated as possible, for various reasons that I've stated before. But now our new understanding of the microbiome is making it painfully evident why I've been able to be so blessed by the diversity of the plants. So I'm going to be looking for ways to share with you so that you can understand, and so that you can take in some of these plant foods and get them into your family and get the information in there into the gut, so the microbes have something to work with, so that they can produce their metabolic byproducts, which is what you as a sack of microbes live off of. You have to remember, you take in the plant materials that have these genetic codes. The microorganisms can recognize that, break that down, and then they, by consuming those plant foods, can produce genetic material into your body. So the genes that are being expressed in your body are 99% microbial. At least that's the latest science. That could change later. But you're basically 1% human. And so we really need to start thinking about soil. We need to start thinking about plant diversity. We've got to start thinking about eliminating antibiotics and chemicals from our lifestyle. Stress is It's very painful. When the mind is stressed, the sympathetic nervous system shuts down and you can't digest. And the microbes are affected by your stress. So you got to be relaxed, calm, cool when you eat and when you live. And if your life isn't cool, calm, peaceful, and relaxed, you need to start finding a way to get out, change it around, and change your consciousness around the social conditioning and programming of these cultural habits that we have, which is basically gluttony, and basically going to restaurants where they don't give a crap about your microbiome. They only want to trick your brain. But you want to start feeding the hub of your life. This is your garden. And we're going to be using stuff like this and other things that I'm going to mention. And I'm going to share with everyone all these different, I got some stuff over here. This one, I'll share this tomorrow or something. I got some protocols that I want to share to help people regenerate their guts. Because that's what it's about. That's what everyone's calling me about these days. They just can't digest, or they've got no appendix, or they took antibiotics, and it can take a couple of years after intense antibiotics to get your gut back into shape. And a lot of times it never comes back the way that it was. So antibiotics are the absolute last measure, and clearing the terrain, getting the mucus out, getting more oxygen into the blood and into the tissues, keeping the lymphatic system moving, not getting emotionally stagnant, processing your emotions, diving into it, keeping the energy flowing through you, the fresh air, the sunlight, the pure water, the living foods. And I will tell you more about the living foods. And now that we understand the microbiome, Dan McDonald was right all along, okay? And I'm saying that with like this vigorousness because it's like, it's so sad to be so sad, to be so stuck, to be so depressed, to be so overweight and have all these diseases and die at a young age because we didn't know. And we were destroying this, and the food had the chemicals on it that was destroying this. And now we know that when we eat the living plant foods, we get the living plant information into our gut, and then it brings us to life, because they're going to show you. There's no one's talking about this. This is Dan McDonald doing 2 to 4 hours of research every day on the microbiome and just thinking, and correlating it with all my experiences. But I'm going to tell you, what you eat affects your consciousness. We know that now. But that was an old yogi thing that everyone thought was kind of cutesy. Now science is showing it's true through the expression of this genetic material affecting your RNA. So whatever you're consuming, you become that. So you get to choose, and I'm not going to start putting down any derogatory type foods, okay? But you become what you eat through the genetic expression and the genetic material that's released by the activity of the microbes in your gut. So whatever you want to be, you want to eat that. Me, I like to be fresh fruit, clean. I like to be herbs. I like fruits, herbs, nuts, seeds, fresh, clean, that want to be eaten. You see, you got to understand, like, when an animal is afraid and it's enslaved and it's sad, there's an epigenetic expression taking place within their RNA. And they are replicating these genes that are associated with the sadness and the stress and the depression. So you've got suicidally depressed chickens that will peck themselves to death being put into chicken burgers at restaurants and stuff like that. People eat those burgers, that genetic material is absorbed into the body, affects consciousness, and then you have a panic attack. Why? Because you just ate a chicken breast from a chicken that was extremely stressed out. And it's also the same thing with the plants, with the agriculture, with the weak soil. It's like we got a 1/4 inch of topsoil to work with. There's no microbial activity. There's no communication network between the microbes and the soil because it's all NPK fertilizers. And so, and then it's always used, and there's no composting, and there's no resting of the soils so that the microbes can regenerate. And so we are getting more and more and more disconnected. So I'm going to share with you everything I can coming up about utilizing more plants. The number one factor involved in a healthy microbiome, and this is all researchers all around the world, they all come up with the same thing. That's number one on the list, is that plant diversity is the number one factor that's known right now that enhances the function and the health of the microbiome. And so here we go, Our Healing Tea. This is from ourbotanicals.com, and it's a really great tea. I want to feature that and just make these types of things available to people. And my friend runs the company, and he is an awesome person. And so I'll put a link down below for that. So go check that out. Get these plants into your body, drink this tea, use it for however you want. Throw a little ginger in there, a little turmeric, whatever. And have it hot or have it cold. And then keep detoxifying yourself, cleanse yourself, deal with this, all this stuff in here. Get yourself right. But when you get the life, when you get the living life from the living plants, and you get that life force energy, it makes it a lot easier to get free. Because the heaviness of it, when I'm on with the phone calls with the clients, it's like, it's hard, because there's so much sadness and so much heaviness. But if you get the lightness and the clarity of the fresh, living foods, you'll be alive, you'll be bright, because of the consciousness and the genetic material that's being released into your bloodstream is of the life and not the death. And the death is what is celebrated. The death is what is normal. To kill everything to death and eat it. To kill everything and eat killed, dead stuff with all the information's disorganized, the fiber's gone, the microbes are out of it, the water gets cooked out of it. Everything beneficial and useful is in the living foods. And I know that a lot of you cannot get food. We have to get back to biodynamics. We've got to support these farmers. It's our last hope. So whoever's growing these plants, I want to support them. Who's ever growing organic plants and putting them into herbal formulas or, you know, supplements and stuff like that, where we can actually get that genetic material back into our guts, so the microbes have something to work with and can produce everything that we need to be happy and light and get free. So instead of saying it's hard, you can be like me, which is it's actually easy. And when you do it, and you do live a life of service, and you do live a life of love, and you do understand that by eating the living foods, you get connected to nature. And then you want to serve everyone, because you can see that everyone is your brother and sister, that we are all in this together. This is one living organism, this planet. And when you get connected back into the life stream by utilizing the living plant foods and getting the plant material into your body and getting your gut right, you can actually be happy. So you can be smart. You just have to be really smart. In this society, you have to make very good choices. You have to be very adamant. You have to be persistent, a little OCD, slightly orthorexic, very ninja skilled like a Jedi. But if you do it, you'll be so glad you did. You'll come alive again. There's life, and that's a very narrow road. When I look and I see, you know, it is a very narrow road. And I am glad that I went down that narrow road and never listened to any naysayers and never changed my ways and never went with the global mind washing over here. Now everyone's going back over in this direction, and then pretty soon they're going to come back over here and they're just going to go with the sheep. I'm going right down the razor's edge. I'm looking to nature. I'm saying, was this possible 1,000,000 years ago? You know, and 1,000,000 years ago there was a lot of plants, and there was a lot of diversity, and there was a lot of fruits, and they were just coming off the trees, growing from the sunlight. And then we took that concentrated sunlight and that genetic material and that microbial expression, and we put it into these things, and they kept changing and changing. So you can actually be a master of, you know, using consciousness to create whatever kind of epigenetic expression that you want via the understanding of the microbes producing the byproducts. And so you can feed them whatever you want to become. And if you feed them life, you will come back to life. And you will have life consciousness. But if you feed your stomach death, and you feed them death, there are microorganisms. Obviously, they decay the tree. The pig's over here rotting, and those microorganisms are going to rot that pig away, plant the parasites in there and chew it up, and all the worms and everything else. And that'll be in there too, because this ecosystem is that ecosystem, and that ecosystem is this ecosystem. That's why connecting this thing back to the soil and pure plants with no death and eating the life and the microorganisms can neutralize the lectins, and they won't even get into the epithelium if there's no presence of the glyphosate or the antibiotics or the stress, which break apart the tight junctions. So you have to care for your gut. They used to say the gut is the second brain. Now that we know that the microbes are 99% responsible for 99% of the genetic material that's being produced, which affects your consciousness and the expression of your body and yourself, and your ability to either receive divine consciousness and exude divine consciousness, then we all know we better get back to the plants and the diversity. So get ourhealingtea.com and bring in some of that diversity. Flush your system, drink it hot or cold. Have a nice day. I hope you learned something. I'm going to keep going over and over. This is just the latest, greatest science and understanding of what's going on right now. So this thing right here, it can either be a desert, you can have like a cactus and some other, and a rock, or you can have this intensely diverse rainforest ecosystem with running rivers and owls and lizards and birds and monkeys and bugs and bees and microorganisms, and have that diversity. And then you're going to have this great enhanced ecosystem that is going to be producing oxygen and lots of fruits. So this is where you produce the fruits of your consciousness. This affects your consciousness. You also need to learn to use your mind and get rid of everything and everyone that stresses you out. And then what you do is you live a life of service. You forget about yourself and you just look everywhere. Where can I help? And you start lifting others up, then you're lifted up, then the energy comes through. But you have to be connected to nature in order to understand that it isn't you against them. That's the old school animalistic nature. And we've been doing that, and it's heavily promoted these days, to go back to being a caveman. And if some dude gets in your way, you knock him over the head and you take that. But that's not what it was. That's the old school caveman way. And the animal consciousness is going to pull you down into every man for himself. But once you get into the life stream and the life consciousness, then you realize that you, by uplifting yourself with your choices, uplift everyone else around you. And then you look for everyone to serve, because those are your brothers and sisters, and you see them suffering. And you've been on the live stream for a long time. You might be an alien on the planet, because a lot of people are on the wide road that leads to nowhere with all the drugs and the death and the sadness and the heaviness. And it's like, get out. Go somewhere where there is ecology. And don't get stuck in the it's hard. The it's hard is in your gut. And it's in the heaviness and the deadness of the dead soy and the dead grains and the dead meat and the dead animals and the dead food that isn't alive, that doesn't have the life, that doesn't connect you via this here, sending signals up your nervous system into your brain as to how to think through these molecules. And then they're going to see, they're only to the molecules right now, but next they're going to see to the electrons, that you're going to need electricity and light to carry these molecules and carry this information. So if you've been on the live foods, you've been doing that the whole time. You're an electrical being. So the microbes can work, they can produce their genetic material, the molecules associated with that can go into your bloodstream and go to your cells and activate the nucleus and pass into the cell wall and express your DNA in a proper way so that you can stay youthful and healthy and happy and have good thoughts. And so that's about a 20-minute video right there. So I hope that everyone digs it, because I'm so stoked out of my mind about this. This is the greatest breakthrough of all time. Once we begin to understand this, we can really begin to heal. There's a lot we could talk about. How to get your gut right so you can lose weight, get rid of all these diseases, but you have to want to live. And you got to find something. Life is worth living. I'll leave you with that. Life is worth living. And when you live to love and serve others, there'll be so much joy for you. You will be overfilled. You will be filled up. You will be happy. You'll be glad. You'll wake up in the morning early, so ready to see what kind of adventures of service you can get yourself into. And you're looking for ways to be of help. You're looking for ways to spend your money to help people. You're looking for ways to spend your time. You're looking for ways to spend your energy. You're just looking for ways to help. uplift this world, because that's the greatest joy, at least in my experience up to this point. So thank you very much for watching this video. Thanks for trying Our Healing Tea, OurBotanicals.com. Let me know if you want to know more about Robert Morris's herbs. I'll design some protocols for weight loss and stuff, but you can go to OurBotanicals.com right now and go look at the formulas. What do you need? Is your brain a little funky? Try the brain and nerve formula. Are your kidneys a little tight? Is your lower back tight? Maybe your kidneys need to be filtered. I like the capsules for that, but the tinctures work well. And I like to take the tinctures and the capsules. It's like a double whammy. And when I did that, I did lose a little bit of weight because I was getting all this nutrition from these plants. And that's when the light bulb went on, and I said, I really got to promote these concentrated plant formulas, because the micronutrients is what we're starting for, the genetic material that the microbes can work with. Okay, I'm emphasizing this over and over again. You want to get those plants in there. Juicing is awesome. Fruits are awesome. Herbs are awesome. It is time to heal, and you can do it. You heal yourself first, then you heal the world. And we heal the world by healing ourselves. When we have energy, we've got energy to work with, and we can serve and we can share our ideas. We've got to support these farmers. We've got to vote with our money. We can elevate our consciousness and understand what's going on and reconnect back to the earth. When we reconnect back to the earth, our roots go deep into the earth. And then we have this nice, strong, stable trunk. And then the tree knows that it can grow big and strong, and so many, many branches, producing many, many leaves. And then when there is strong roots deeply in the rich soil of your virtuous life, then the energy comes up, and it is a stable tree. The branches are strong and can hold many leaves. The leaves can absorb the sunlight consciousness of God, and then many fruits can be produced. Sink your roots deep into the earth. Remember the mother. Go outside, play, eat plants, eat clean, wholesome, healthy, biodynamic, organic plants. Just do the best you can. Root in. You will understand. It will make sense. Right now we're disconnected from the earth, and that creates us to be disconnected from God, because if we can't even follow the laws of earth, how can we understand the laws of God? And there's confusion, and religion destroys love. You know what I mean? And it's confused, and it's so simple. It's just love. And I'm grateful, because I set out a long time ago to love. And my heart is opening up. My heart is useful. It's a tool that I use to be present with people. And I just sit there and I just love them, because I can see them, because I can see myself, because I forgave myself. And so I'm able to hold space. And then people are like, wow, you really love me. And it's like, yes, I do. You know, because I can see you. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. And love is the answer. Love and service. So start small, start right where you are, and believe me, if you're young, you'll have a great life. If you're more mature, the best part of your life is now, when you start love and service to yourself. Take care of yourself, and then help anyone who's available and open and ready to receive. You know, we cannot force anything down anyone's throat. That's why I kind of like these videos. It's like, hey man, you know, take it or leave it. I'm DTM, I'm rapping, I'm working for God. I'm here to talk about love, and I love Mother Nature, because that's the way back to sanity. You know what I mean? So I'd love to see more and more of you feel better and better every day, and I'd love to see humanity come up with some great ideas, start voting with our dollars, and kind of get back on track. We gave our power away to corporations, and we are paying dearly for it. And now we need to take that power back and grow food in our backyards. We need to support these farmers. We need to tip the farmers. We never want to talk them down. We want to give them more than what they're asking, because we know that their service is our life. Because if this thing is off, it's all off. Believe me, everyone thinks they're a freaking genius, and they're totally off base. They're totally insane, asinine ideas, because they're so disconnected from the earth, and it has no practical, pragmatic value. And people want to argue about theology, and they want to argue about perceptions, and they want to argue about the nitpicky details. And I'm like, it's not that difficult. It's all about love. The great master said it. And then it got all confused, and people are disconnected from the earth, so they're disconnected from the source because they've got these wilted little trees with a couple of leaves and not producing any fruit. And so we got to get right. And I hope you can dig it, baby, because I can dig it. I'm out. Check it out. Word. Links down below. Peace.